Thanks for tuning in to this episode of I Have Something to Say, where subject matter experts are unafraid and unapologetic about sharing their perspectives regarding issues that impact our lives. They speak up because basically they give a shit. So if you're tired of canned answers and want to finally hear real people cut through the BS and talk about real issues, this is the podcast for you. I'm your host, Sami Heyman Marrero from Urbender, and behind our mixer is our producer, Chris Majoka from UdoU. Hi, everyone. I'm very excited today. I'm here with Chris. Hi, Chris. And we want to introduce his friend and now my new friend, Nina Streich, and she's the executive director of the Global Peace Film Festival. She's right now in New York City. But we celebrated here in Orlando too, as like several weeks worth, right, of amazing films dedicated to peace, justice, environmental sustainability, social justice. I think I just mentioned that, and then also encouraging its audiences to really get involved in this type of work. Nina has a lot of experience in the arts, in film, working with government, right? With I think it was, where was it, in New York City, right? New York City, with the mayor's office. Yes. And the film, theater, and broadcasting, right, division, back in the 1990s. I read, fun fact, she worked in major, film productions too, like Raiders of the Lost Ark, right? Yeah, I read that.
For those films.
Yes.
Editor.
Oh, nice. You see, so I mean, just wealth of experience, and so we wanted to have her come on the podcast to talk about how the arts, how storytelling, how pivoting, right, in terms of doing one thing and then moving into another form of expression, or into another environment, like governmental, and working the arts and film and theater and broadcasting, and then going completely into independent productions, right? What that experience was, especially, it's like, especially since she has so much experience. She launched the Global Peace Film Festival in 2003. So that's how many years now? Help me with the math. Yep. Going into your 18th year. Welcome, Nina. How are you?
It's great to be with you.
Yes, absolutely. Talk to me. How, I mean, clearly working in the city, in the New York City mayor's office, in that division, film, theater, and broadcasting, you from the onset had a passion for, for film, right? Or no?
Yeah, all my life, my two loves have been film and media, basically. I'm film and politics, basically, or media and politics. So both the mayor's office, which I was in the film commission. It was, I was the deputy commissioner and then the acting commissioner in the Dinkins administration. And David Dinkins, who just recently turned 93 years young, is the first and so far only African-American mayor of New York City. So it was a real honor to work in his administration. He was a very progressive mayor and a wonderful human being. But that, to me, was a culmination at that point of bringing together my two loves of film and politics. And then when I left that, I started getting involved in film festivals. Before the mayor's office, I was among other things, I was a trailer editor. I cut trailers for major studio films and independent films, and loved doing that. And as a way to sort of exercise my passion for political issues, I would always describe it as, I made money cutting trailers, I spent it making documentaries for issues that I cared about, and small organizations that I cared about. And then after the mayor's office, I was invited to be the development director of a film festival in Nantucket.
Mm.
And and then just one film festival came to me after another. And in 2003, a friend of mine said, "Hey, this guy wants to talk to you about starting a global peace film festival," and he hired me to do it. I had only been to the theme parks in Orlando. I didn't even know that Disney was not in Orlando.
Right, that it's
But
in.
when he hired me, and I had the idea of a global peace film festival, it was the beginning of the Iraq War, and that I had this idea that the festival should not be about the war, should not be about what we were against, but if I was going to do it, I wanted to put a positive vision forward about what peace looks like.
Yeah.
And the other thing, the other idea that I had right from the beginning was that the success of most film festivals, you know, the heart of the festival is when the lights go down. For us, the heart of the festival is when the lights come up and people are sitting taller in their seats, wondering, you know, and thinking, I wish there was something I could do about that. We want to have the films that elicit that kind of response, and we also want to have the partnerships with organizations that are able to say, "Hey, this is what we're doing. You can join us and do something about this." So from the very beginning, I always felt that the significant, the success of the festival would be what people did afterwards, rather than people, loving just loving the film.
Yeah, and that's where your unofficial title of social change advocate comes in, right? Because you're like poking the bear, making them react.
Actually, we don't poke the bear. We let we let our audience be the one to decide that moves me.
Yeah.
We don't want to say do this. It's
yeah.
We want to elicit that response from an audience naturally and without without
really imposing. It's not really imposing. And I'm using that terminology because you're just creating an environment for people to listen up and react, hopefully in a way that will affect change, right?
But the documentaries themselves end up being the ones who poke the bear, per se.
Right, exactly.
I've been a guest of the Global Peace Film Festival, or patron, for a number of years now, and I can say it's kind of unlike other film festivals where other film festivals are cool. Everybody gathers around and stuff, but these ones, and a lot of times the directors or people who are part of the film are there as well. And you just get that dialogue afterwards. My wife and I saw one on Sandy Hook, and they had two of the parents who were there and were part of the creation of the film, and just having that dialogue with them and stuff, it just really, you walk out of there and you're like, wow, what can I do? Or you're just inspired to think differently as you walk out of the Global Peace Film Festival.
And that's what we aim to do. And you can, and the festival is very diverse in terms of its content. There are films about the environment, and then there are films about, that film, Newtown was the film about Sandy. And in fact, we're talking to the director of that film. She has a new film, and we're hoping that we'll be able to show that film in the festival this year. But she's negotiating with distributors. So there are all kinds of logistical issues in terms of what films can say yes to any film festival. Timing and geography and so on and so on. So trust that we'll be able to show her new film, and Chris, you'll have to watch it. And whether we're able to show it in the festival or not, we'll be working with those filmmakers, because one of the things that we look for in a lot of the films that we show, not every film, but a lot of them, is, does the filmmaker have an impact campaign? Did the filmmaker make this film because there's something they want to achieve by people seeing it? Is there something they want people to do in response to seeing this, their films.
Right.
And so those are the films that we particularly look for and try to connect them with local organizations who they may or may not have been involved with in the past, to actually help elevate both the filmmaker and the issue and
Right.
the organization.
That's really cool. So it has to transcend the art form itself. It has to be, almost like an instrument, like a tool, an agent, of
call
change.
to action.
So I have to add that the Global Peace Film Festival does not only show films, and this year we're showing them virtually. Most all the films will be shown virtually. We're seeing what can be, if anything can be done in person, but given what's going on, that's a little.
And how was it? How has that transition been? Because different industries, different organizations, different entities have specific needs. Like the event, with event planning, you kind of have to walk backwards, like picture how you want it to look, and then walk backwards to be able to line up your ducks to make it happen. And so what did that, because it's a new picture. Talk about not even knowing what that vision is, right? How did you decipher what to do?
We do some year-round programming, and we actually had 3 programs that were scheduled in March and April that we, the first one was, I think it was March 24th. And when things started looking kind of iffy, and the filmmaker, I was coming down for it from New York, and the filmmaker was coming down from DC, and he had a couple of other people coming in for it from other places. And we were going to do the screening in Bush Auditorium at Rollins College. I spoke to Rollins and said, is anything going to change with this? And they're like, we don't know yet. And she said, but I'm going to hold on to, I'm not going to finalize until we know what's going on.
Yeah.
Director and I, decided let's better safe than sorry. And so we canceled early. We canceled before everything locked down, and then had to cancel the other upcoming event. So Kelly Devine, who's the artistic director of the festival, and I said, we have to continue to serve our audiences. And a lot of the filmmakers who've had films in previous festivals were putting one or more of their films online for free because everybody was like, well, everybody's stuck inside. Let's give them a watch.
Yeah.
So we started talking to those filmmakers when we would see something and say, well, let's do a Q&A. Let's tell people to watch the film, and we'll do a Q&A on Zoom and, throw it to Facebook Live, and we'll have some programming. And so the first couple of those that we did, that was our format. It's like, okay, we had, we've been telling people about this film. Now we're going to talk about, now we're going to make questions about it. Well, what we found was that more people were being driven to watch the film from the conversation than before. So that made us think, we have to look at a virtual festival in a way than we look at an in-person festival. Yes, you can have the Q&As, but you're not tied to a specific time in terms of watching the film.
Right.
So we started rethinking, how we're going to present things. And yes, we're presenting films on a virtual platform, but instead of a schedule where this film starts at 7:00 and this film starts at 9, the films will be available for periods of time, and you can watch it at 2 a.m. if you want.
Right, exactly. That's fantastic. And then the Q&As, how would you do that? So it's almost like a promotional tool then, because if you say that they were driving audiences to then tune in.
Yeah. So what we started doing with these Q&As that we've been doing, we created a new program called GLOWS, Global Peace Film Festival Lives Online, where we talk about the film, not just with the filmmaker, but sometimes with a subject of the film or an expert on the issue. And instead of assuming that people have seen anything, we're making these conversations much more evergreen. So that the first question is, tell us a little bit about this film. And so we intend to do that for the, rather than calling them Q&As, we're going to call them events or panels or something, where we're not just have the one person. We're still figuring that out.
Right.
Those will be live at whatever time we set. That will likely be in the middle of the run of that film. If the film is available for 5 days, maybe we'll do the panel or whatever, the discussion on day 2 or day 3.
Right.
So people may have seen it, and it'll drive other people to watch it. But that conversation will be accessible to other people, and we'll be able to give a recording of that conversation to the filmmaker so that they can actually cut out of it what they want and use it for their own promotional purposes.
Yes, that's really great. So it is creating content. You see how you're a content producer after all, Dina? That's fantastic. That's really great. I mean, everyone's been kind of going mad, right? Trying to figure this out. I love that you're anchoring and that you've done this throughout the film festival, like kicking it off on International Day of Peace. That's September 21st, right?
Exactly. So the festival run from the September 21st. Originally, the dates of the festival dates before COVID were going to be September 28th to October 4th. But because people's viewing habits are so different online, and there was a reason we couldn't. Start on September 21st, but virtually we can.
Yeah.
And so we decided to hit that date, and we have, we're going to have a film featured on that day that's about nonviolent activism and violence. And so those filmmakers, that film is called The Third Harmony, and we'll be doing something in partnership with the Peace and Justice Institute at Valencia. Again, all virtual. And that film, the filmmakers want the film to be seen worldwide, so people will be able to watch that from anywhere. And anytime throughout the festival is what I think they're talking about. We're still finalizing.
So you left your job, like corporate job, and just fell into helping others do their film festivals, and then launched your own.
I didn't leave my job in the film commission because
you didn't?
Was elected. Rudy Giuliani got elected.
Got it.
For mayor.
Okay.
But yeah, I kind of fell into film festivals. It wasn't anything I ever expected to do. And once I started on, once I did one, people kept coming to me and saying, let's work one. And the Global Peace Film Festival was my first film festival. And doing first-time events is difficult. And I always tell people who start new film festivals that the first year is really rough, and the second year is even worse. You survive the first year, and you don't know how you did it. And then when you do the second year, you think you know what you're doing.
Yeah, because you've been through it once, right? Yeah.
By all these things that you didn't, I forgot.
Yeah, because it's, it is challenging. What did you think? Because I know you know Chris for a while. What did you think when Chris dove in head first into documentary filmmaking a couple of years ago and quit his job?
I encouraged you, didn't I, Chris?
You did. It's funny, actually. I was reviewing my notes earlier from our meeting. I met with Nina to get her advice at the same coffee shop that Sunny, I met with you when I asked you if I should quit my job. So, both of you guys pushed me in the right direction. But
okay, good. But no,
yeah,
we without imposing, we just created an environment, where you felt free to just jump over that edge, and yeah.
And also, it's important to be able to go with the flow, to figure out, you may have ideas. And that's what we did in transitioning to the online, to the virtual festival is, we're not looking to recreate what we've done in person. We're looking to make the experience work for the time and the place.
Mm-hmm. How do you see? Okay, so first, what has been the what was that?
I have to jump in 1 minute because we don't only show films. We also do art exhibits and stuff like that. And so we are still anticipating, and fingers crossed, there's all kinds of things about it, an exhibit, a photography exhibit or some kind of exhibit at City Art in downtown Orlando. And that'll be, in person, fingers crossed.
Right. So do you feel that, because I was going to ask you, what has been the thing that you found in this transition that was like, that was the easiest thing? And then what so far has been the most challenging? Like, if you could tell us in that transition.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So there's another thing that we do, which is another transition, which since 2006, we've done a kindergarten through 12th grade piece art through OCPS, through Orange County Public Schools. And the exhibit has mostly been displayed in the rotunda at City Hall in Orlando. Mm-hmm. Well, that's not possible. And the families and the teachers and the principals and friends and everything would pack City Hall, would pack the rotunda. So that wasn't possible. But that was a real easy pivot because it's actually going to be easier for OCPS to host that online on their website. It'll be, and then it'll launch on the days that it was going to open on, which is for 28th, and then some of the exhibit will live on our website for the rest of the people. So that was a surprisingly easy pivot because OCPS has enjoyed this exhibit, and not, by no means all the schools participate in it. We usually have between 30 and 40 schools, kindergarten through 12th grade, submit work to it, but it makes it a lot easier that they don't have to actually mount it and ship it.
Right. Yeah, all of that logistics.
It was an easy pivot. What was the easiest? One of the easy things is not having to travel.
Yeah.
Like, how much time do you save by doing Zoom meetings? I mean, Kelly and I are having Zoom meetings with all the filmmakers whose films we've invited. And one day we spoke to filmmakers, the same day, we spoke to filmmakers in Italy, Spain, and Australia.
Yeah.
And we would, before this year, we would never have spoken to them until, actually, many of them, the only correspondence was email.
Right.
We never had a dialogue with them, never saw their faces. Even filmmakers in New York, where it'd be easy to, for me to visit, to set up a meeting with them. We didn't see them. If they came down to the festival, we'd meet them there. Now we're meeting them all in advance.
Which is kind of cool because now you have a deeper sense of who they are and what makes them tick.
Exactly.
And I guess that's something you'll probably even next year and moving forward, hopefully with, when people are able to get together again and stuff like that, there's probably things that you'll take from this year that you'll implement moving forward. So. And
also maybe, depending on how it goes, maybe we'll continue to have the virtual festival, and maybe it'll reshape what we do live.
Yeah. And amplify it. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I think this is a tremendous opportunity to shine a spotlight on Central Florida. You know, as the Global Peace Film Festival is one of the Orange County Cultural Tourism Grant recipients, and without tourism this year, that's tough for every one of the organizations who has that. I think our virtual festival is really a way to magnify, and celebrate Central Florida, and hopefully draw people to come in the future when travel is possible again.
Yeah, definitely. I wanted to also ask you about in all of these years of the film festival, the Global Peace Film Festival. What to you is like a big highlight? You know, something that really moved you, or that you were like completely floored or wowed about, that was an experience that you felt like, wow, that's it, I could retire right now because this was like spectacular.
Oh gosh, there have been a lot
Yeah.
of really wonderful experiences. What always moves me is and excites me is when when somebody is truly moved by something and it changes their lives. And we've had many instances of that. I always said that the biggest change that you can make in the world is to change one person's heart. And so seeing that, and we've had a lot of experiences with students who've come. There was one student who she was just, when she graduated, she was a senior, and when she graduated, she was going to she had a music video that we had programmed in the festival, and I asked her to, I said, come to everything, meet all the filmmakers, every film. And she was sort of a little like, and then she decided to do it. And she wrote to me in the summer after she graduated, which was the next May. And she said, my experience with the festival changed my life. I went to the career services or center and said I wanted to, I was just going to take a year off and bum around playing music. I decided I wanted to use my music for good. And she went to graduate school for social work, and which she wasn't even thinking of doing. And to me was like, and she's now doing amazing work in the Pacific Northwest, using her music as, and with indigenous people. And that to me was a real thrill. I mean, it doesn't sound like much, but
that's huge. Yes, because she's impact. So the film impacts people, so then they can impact others. I think it's great.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So that is. I always find it very hard to find, that moment.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's a lot of those types of moments. It's a lot of those that create the critical mass that we need to really change the world. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Is this free? Like, how do people tune in?
The website is peacefilmfest.org, and there will be a group of short films mainly that'll be free and available to anybody anytime during the festival. Most of the films, the feature films, will be on a platform where you do have to buy tickets. The tickets will be reasonably priced, and once you buy a ticket, you don't have to buy a ticket for a particular film. You'll be able to buy a ticket for any film you decide to see.
Okay.
Then once you've made that, click on that film, you'll have 24 or 48 hours, it's the filmmaker's selection of what that window is, to watch that film. So you can start it and, do something else and come back to it, but as long as you watch it within that window. And then the panels that I was describing earlier, those will be for people to watch. and there will be other media with each filmmaker will be able to upload a trailer, and a small introduction to their film.
Mm-hmm.
People can hear from, well, it's up to the filmmakers how they want to do that.
Yeah.
Introduction. They'll be able to watch that before deciding what they want to see.
Right. To attract, to see if it appeals to them.
Platform that we're using, and one of the good things about the platform that we're using is that they're very conscious of protecting the filmmakers' rights.
Yeah.
So
you were mentioning to me that some of the films were like by territory, and then others had, that you could watch them from anywhere in the world.
That, at minimum, the filmmaker has to commit that their film will be seen in the state of Florida.
Okay.
So anybody in the state of Florida will be able to watch every film on
right.
the platform. Some filmmakers will decide that that the whole United States can watch it. Some will decide all of North America will watch it. Will have particular reasons that maybe they'll want the film seen in North America and Europe. They can decide any way they want.
Yeah. And how many films normally do you have featured?
Normally we have about 30, and
okay.
We're going to have, it might be a little smaller. I think we're going to come out at around 25 this year.
Okay.
So usually we sell we sell festival passes, and somebody buys, and we sell individual tickets. You can walk up when it's in person. You can walk and buy a ticket before you go, right before the screening, up till when, up till even a couple of minutes after it starts. The online is works differently. So basically, you'll be able to buy a ticket to a film and use it on any film.
And then you redeem it. Yes, it's more like a redeeming kind of format. That's cool.
I think what we're going to do instead of passes per se is have, you can buy a single ticket, you can buy 4 or 6 or 8 or whatever, whatever number.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. That's awesome. I'm excited, and it doesn't seem like so many films that you can't pack them into a week.
Right.
That if you haven't taken vacation time because you've been cooped up anyway, so then take your vacation off. From what is it, September 21st through October 4th, and just binge on.
There are many audience members who we know. Some of them we have their email addresses, and I know who they and I can write to them.
Yeah.
But there's many people who come to us and say, I want to see everything, but the schedule is so packed, I can't see everything.
Yeah.
I can't wait to tell a couple of people, now you'll be able to see everything.
To watch it all. No, I'm totally serious, like if you haven't, I haven't gone on vacation. Well, because why? We're stuck at home. I mean, I'm not going anywhere. So, but this may be a good idea. Take like 3 days, during that period of time, and just email everybody. I'm out for 3 days, and then just binge. I'll buy the 20 movie packet or full access packet.
Yeah,
that sounds like a lot of fun. Okay, so for new documentary filmmakers, I know that Chris made his first documentary film last year. Like, how do they go about, what is the criteria that you go by? I mean, I know obviously it has to be like social change, something that really are they documentaries only? Are they fiction? Can fictional pieces, be? Yeah,
we definitely have fiction films.
Okay.
We have in the shorts program that I mentioned, that'll be free and available. Yeah. We are inviting several shorts. We haven't heard back from everybody yet.
Yeah.
We're inviting several narrative shorts.
Yeah.
I always like to find narrative features if we possibly can, but we don't want to tell somebody who has a narrative film that's submitted to us that would have a better chance at long-term viability by starting with another film festival. We're not a market film festival. We're not a film festival where buyers come to to look for new talent. So we're not a festival, and the submissions for narrative, the quality of documentaries is generally higher than that for narrative films when you're talking about a low budget, which is mostly what submits to to any film festival.
Right.
So narrative shorts, absolutely. It's really, for a new filmmaker, exercising that muscle is really critical. You got to learn, if you jump right into making your first narrative feature, it's much harder than if you learn the technical side of things and the storytelling side of things and how to integrate those through starting with shorts and building up that muscle. Documentaries, the important thing is to find a subject that you fall in love with. It's not an individual person subject necessarily. But, what you want to make the film about, you have to be passionate about, because it takes a long time. It's a lot of work. Surprising amount of work.
You're laughing, Chris. Yeah. Nah, it's easy peasy.
Right. So loving it is really important. And I think I told Chris this. Just start. Even if you're not ready, start shooting on your phone. Start shooting on anything, because if you're waiting till all the pieces fall into place, you can miss a lot of content that would have had, you don't want to say later, oh, I wish I hadn't, I wish I'd shot that on my phone. I could have gotten this, because you can't go back.
And that was honestly the advice I followed. When I did the documentary Hurricane Maria and the American Dream, I went to Puerto Rico with my phone. I bought a little lens for it, a little gimbal, and I had a friend come with me with a 6-year-old little Nikon that only shot 1080p and stuff. But we went and we told the story. And I think to your point, I was so focused at the beginning on just planning and making sure everything went perfect. And I can tell you that the end result of my film is nothing like what I would have imagined when I set out for it. And to me, that's what I love about documentary filmmaking is the story almost reveals itself to you. And it's just your job to be there with the camera to capture it, whatever quality the camera may be. So.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's really cool. And so, I mean, I just feel like so many people are now in this state of flux, and they don't know what to do. And we've had other guests, that's a big thing that we like to focus on, is about reinventing yourself, or you got to pay the bills and all of that, which is great, but having purpose behind your work too. There's something really powerful to be said about that, because you enjoy it. You feel like you're getting something done and making in terms of making this world a better place. And 3, you get to meet new people and collaborate, and really, I love what you mentioned, Nina, about how you're doing these. It's so funny because we had this technology before, right? It's not like we haven't had Zoom and WebEx and all of these platforms before. But we've been so caught up with the way the norm, that normal, that because we're always talking about the new normal, but normal should be a fluid thing, because then now moving forward, to get to know the filmmakers at a more personal level, right? I'm sure it just brings a whole other dimension to the work you're doing, and I'm sure it's sparking, igniting new ideas,
Definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, but about passion, even if you start a project you need a job and you need to pay the rent and you need
Yeah.
and buy food and things like that. But sometimes working on a passion project can actually help put you on a path that you never expected to be on. That doesn't, that if it's a film that you're making, it can lead to a job that you never expected to get. That doesn't have anything to do with making that film.
Why are you laughing, Chris? Because you were ready to go back to corporate in March.
I mean, I left my job to make the film, but basically here I am 2 years later, and I run what I call a cause-based and story-driven film and video production company, and it's the hardest thing I've ever done, and I work way more than I.
No, the hardest thing you'll do in life is to raise kids.
That's
when you
right.
and Ashley finally get with it. But you're right. Up until now, this is the hardest thing that you've.
Yeah, no, and honestly, kind of the documentary pushed me in that direction, where it's not just creating videos, or I do commercial videos and stuff like that too to pay the bills, but really I've kind of built a niche where my focus is community-driven projects and working with nonprofits and helping tell their stories, because at the end of the day, even if I maybe make a little bit less than if I went for the big corporations, seeing a video out there that has helped somebody or helped an organization that's really trying to make an impact is, it's kind of a passion that I found through the film that, sort of threw me in a direction I never planned on being in. So
yeah, you could sleep well at night, right?
Absolutely.
This has been so much fun. Please, Nina, tell us again the dates, the website, and just let us know what we need to do to tune in, to plug in, and make sure we don't miss the highlights of the Global Peace Film Festival.
So the festival starts on September 21st, which is the International Day of Peace, and runs through October 4th. The website is peacefilmfest.org, and if you have any questions, you can email info@peacefilmfest.org, and tickets will be available through the website. There will be other information on there's other things. The art exhibit the kids' art exhibit will be on the website as well. When that doesn't start till the 28th of September, but there will be information about that. One of the things we also have on the website is if something really moved you or excited you, we have a list of community organizations that work on that's broken down by category. So if you saw a film on civil rights and you want to do something of those groups, and you can get in touch with it has contact information, usually just a website or something, a number. So we also hope everybody will share this information with all their friends.
Yeah.
Tell as many people about it as possible. And the most important is the website is peacefilmfest.org.
Yeah. Thank you. Listen, I think as a mom of two kids, one in elementary and one in middle school, these films are age appropriate too, right? I mean, so are they rated or?
None of the films are rated, but we're very careful about content. Your little one, this is going to be over their head. Really sort of the middle of middle school.
Yeah.
And up is okay.
Yeah, my 10-year-old is like a little activist though, so you might be surprised.
There'll be a lot of
and at least mine anyway are used to foul language or whatever, so they're a little bit more exposed to maybe more than the normal 10-year-old, but yeah.
We try to be careful about the language, of course.
Good.
You can't always, but we're very careful about things like nudity and
okay.
Sexual.
Okay, cool. Because I'm just thinking that as much as and sorry, parents out there, in in the digital world, we're not going back to school. That's just not going to happen, right? So, but so this
I
is,
certainly hope for everybody's safety.
yeah, I don't think it's going to happen just because, even if they do open, but that's a whole other podcast, right? Even if they do open, they're going to go back home, right? It's not going to last more than 3 days or a week. And so, but this is like a good resource too,
Yeah.
for class discussion. So all the teachers out there, all of the parents out there, look at the trailers, check out, the short films. Maybe these are, topics that can, like you can start discussing at home, and
That just so it's not lost on anyone who's listening or watching this podcast, about the importance of having so film festivals, yes, and art, but the Global Peace Film Festival during these times in 2020. I think if anybody's going to be inspired to become an activist or activate in some way, to do something better for this world, I think this is probably going to be a really good source of information for people to say, hey, this is where I can make a change, because I think a lot of people get stuck in their comfortability, and being content with the way things are in their lives. And this year, we know that hasn't been there hasn't been normal for anybody. So everybody's out of their comfort zone. And if you're going to be inspired to do anything, I think this film festival will really help people figure out their path.
yes, I love that. I love that. That's fantastic. I thank you, Chris. I think that really, I'm like all motivated and stoked now. I can't wait, and I'm definitely gonna put it in my calendar to participate, Nina, to have an inside look, into,
Yeah.
what you're cooking up, you know. This fall has been a gift. Thank you for joining us today. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see, and maybe we can share some of the takeaways and highlights of the film festival.
That.
Yeah, I think that would be a lot of fun. Okay, so thank you so much, and everyone, will see you next week. This concludes this episode of I Have Something to Say. We want to thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to tell your friends about us. We're on Spotify and iTunes as well. There's more to come next week. And remember, if you have something to say, it's time to speak up.